So the key thing that you guys want to know, as a conclusion of this video, is it possible? Short answer. What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Intro Mike, back with the Intro Short for Entrepreneur. Today we're going to be going over a very controversial topic. Can you start a box truck business with $5,000? We're going to go over all of the fixed expenses, when entering the business that are really the same across the board, all the variable expenses, and what could change depending on your credit you're doing. Are you going to rent? Are you going to buy? Are you going to own? Are you going to finance? So I hope you guys enjoy this video. Before we get started, make sure you like the video. Make sure you guys, if you want to get in contact with me, check the description. All right, y'all. Like I said, this video is going to be about starting a box truck business. We got another slide presentation because I could just throw numbers on the screen, but I think it's better for you guys to see this information, be able to screenshot it, to be able to come back to it, to make sure you're not overpaying for any information. And if you feel like you are, text me or something. So these are the expenses that are really the same across the board. If you guys had any expenses that were way higher, way lower, drop it down in the comment and we can discuss that too. But LLC and EIN, you can get this from anywhere from $100 on the low end to $500. I don't think many people are going to do the free route. For your business bank account, it's usually a $100 deposit. There are some banks who may be higher than that, but on average, I've opened 3 banks. Usually it's just a $100 deposit, at least in where I am in Middle Georgia. If yours is higher, drop that down. For the FMCSA application across the board, $300 to get your DOT and MC number. Your BOC3 and UCR will be $50 a piece. Depending on what website you go through, there are going to be, for the BOC3, it's no going around not using a processing agent. You're going to have to pay the $50. But for UCR, some guys will do like a BOC3 and UCR package and charge like $300 for it. But if you do it yourself, $100. All right. Now for the DOT medical card, it was $85 for me. For some guys, it's $120. Put an average around $100. Truck inspection. Usually you can go to Love's or a TA or a Pilot and get a truck inspection on a 26-foot box truck for $50. I just went ahead and accounted for inflation. This is 2025 when I'm recording this. Let's just say the truck inspection is $100. Let's say you go to Penske and they upcharge you. I don't know. Pallet jacks. I went on multiple websites like Uline. Uline is usually the most common that people will order a pallet jack from. I saw $395. I said, you know what? Let's add taxes and up it to $500. Right? We're just rounding up for a lot of this stuff. Straps, I went super excessive and put $500. And you're gonna see why later on in the video. For ELD, I put $300 to $500 if you were to go get a fancy Garmin ELD out of a truck stop. But honestly, they may not even be that much. That's on the higher end. So total cost for high-end expenses across the board, this is really everything you're going to need to be compliant. This is like disregarding safety kits, safety vests, fire extinguishers, spare fuses, and things of that nature. I just want to kind of go over the basic costs because some of the other miscellaneous things that $20 here, $50 here, yeah, it's going to add up, but everybody's different. Everybody's going to have different scenarios, but these right here are usually not going to change. Like unless you're staying within state lines, maybe you don't need an ELD. But everybody's going to need everything else, All right. And then on the bottom here, I just got a brief description of, LLC, NIN, business bank account, and, a little broad overview. All right. And then we got the expenses from, either going the rental route or financing route. Because let's be honest, being new is going to be pretty hard to lease a truck. If you are, drop that down and how much you actually paid for it. But for renting a truck, that's probably the most common way people are getting into the box truck industry still to this day.
To this day.
For financing, though, there are a rare few people, people with really good credit who are able to get 0 down payment, and that's if you have great credit. Other options may require 15 to 25% down payment based on your credit score. Usually if you're pretty bad, it can go as high as 30%, 40%. And usually the worse your credit is, the interest rate tends to be higher too. So you want to be careful with that. For the rental company though, let's just skip down to the price. Rates are ranging from $500 to $1,000 a week, depending on your market. I have some guys tell me they're around $575. I have some guys tell me they're $850. I still get in a blue moon guys over $1,000 a week, but they're in high cost areas for rentals. Some rental companies require a few weeks up front, and some rental companies only require the first week deposit. So, of course, in this scenario, this is given the best scenario is 1 week deposit. That's what we're going to kind of go with. That, out of all of these options, the only way you can stay under 5K is if you have excellent credit and you have a $0 down payment, basically, or you go get a loan for zero down. And for the rental, if you only got to put a 1 week deposit down and you have rates ranging from 500 to 1,000. Keep these numbers in mind. I'm going to add them all up at the end. Now, this is the one that gets a little tricky. And like I said, I am a licensed insurance agent working for an agency right now. So if you guys want an insurance quote, check the link in the description and I can help you get what you're going to need in order to stay under that 5K mark. All right. It's some ways I can get the down payment pretty low, but let's just go over operational coverages for insurance. This is what all the bells and whistles to actually move general freight, whether it's on the load board, whether it's Amazon Relay, and that is $1 million for your auto liability, $100,000 for your cargo. Physical damage needs to be the stated value of the truck. General liability, $1 million per occurrence, $2 million aggregate, and it's not necessary for all operations, but I know a lot of you guys doing box trucks love Amazon Relay. Even though you can't do it for the first 6 months, I went ahead and put the insurance requirements for them all. All right. And the average down payment cost that I'm seeing day to day for guys starting off with a 26-foot box trucks is usually $1,500 to $3,000. I can be honest and say that. But I have had guys that had to put down $4,500 depending on their credit. If your credit isn't the best, you're going to have to put about 19% down. You can do the math to figure out what his entire policy was. Right? But if you got pretty decent credit, you can put down, you can have a down payment as low as 9 to 10%, depending on which carriers that you're eligible for as a new venture in your state. But then you got the minimum policy, right? And a minimum policy is something that we can write really with all lines of new ventures at this current point. So $750K liability or whatever your bodily injury property damage requirement is showing on the FMCSA when starting your application. So when you start your FMCSA application, they're going to give you a BIPD, which is your auto liability insurance requirement limit, whatever they grant you for, usually $750K if you pick the straight truck. If for some reason you pick the non-commercial truck, it would be $300K. And in some states, rarely it's $1 million, depending on how you fill it out. And down payments for the minimum policy are going to be lower because you don't have the cargo, you don't have the general liability, you don't have the physical damage, and you're going to say, but Mike, I need all those coverages to book loads. The thing about a minimum policy is we lower your coverages just for the time being to get you a lower down payment, and then we'll raise you back up the next day to fully operational coverages. Your monthly will be higher than if you were to put that down payment down initially. This helps get people through the door who don't necessarily have enough capital to make a $4,500 or a $3,500 down payment, along with whatever they got to pay for the truck too. So the key thing that you guys want to know, as a conclusion of this video, is it possible? Short answer is yes. Starting a box truck company for $5,000 is possible. It requires careful planning and budgeting. You're going to need either a consultant, a nice insurance agent like myself who can walk you through the process. Because like I said, insurance or the truck is going to end up being your highest cost. The truck is something that, like I said, you go the rental route, you can shop around. Insurance is, you got to have somebody that knows what they're doing to not screw you over. Because at the end of the day, you still need an active authority and you need the proper coverages to haul freight. But the considerations I got here is this approach involves a low initial cost, but your resources will be limited. You will need working capital for ongoing expenses and unexpected costs. So I didn't put that within the scope of cost. Of course, you're going to have the fuel for the first few weeks, like until you actually start getting paid. If you're wondering how you get paid, it's by having a factoring company that usually charges anywhere from 2 to 4%. If you guys want my contact for factoring, Darius at RTS Financial. Make sure you guys check the link in the description. All right, so these are the next steps. Consultation, insurance quote, and keep researching, right? So for consultation, just hit me up. You know, my links are in the description, how you can get in contact with me if you got any questions. I'm going to text message away. For the insurance quote, you need to obtain an insurance quote as soon as you have an LLC EIN and your FMCSA application completed. This will give you an idea of your ongoing cost. And then, like I always put in every video, keep researching. Don't just watch me, watch other people. There are some guys who give a very realistic viewpoint, and there are some guys who give very motivational viewpoints. I'm trying to bridge them together. I don't want to break you guys down and break your dreams, but I do want to be realistic about, you know, what's in front of us and your opportunities going forward. Everybody's not going to be able to afford this business ASAP. It might just take, you know, like the last thing I put, don't rush into starting if your expenses are too high. It may just take waiting longer. It may take doing more strategic things to get in business. You may have to get a little bit more creative when it comes to leveraging your credit. It may take, you know, maybe a loan from a family member. It's not going to be as simple as this PowerPoint. It's, you know, it's very subjective, very situational. So make sure you do your research. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. It's your boy Antro Mike. Peace.